Hey, what's up, guys? We are back. If you are joining us for the first time, this is Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda Podcast, a relationship podcast, the sexiest relationship podcast on the planet. I'm a film director, Imani, Shakur, author, actress, Rachel K. Burke. Yes, we're cool, we're fly, we know a lot about relationships. That's why we talk about it on this podcast. And we've had a lot of them. That's why we talk about it on this podcast. Don't forget to follow on YouTube. ISCT Group Digital is the channel to subscribe and hit the notification button. RBTalkTruth@gmail is the email. Don't forget to get Rachel's books, Rock and Roll Love Story, Sound Bites, and Love Bites. Don't forget to get these. And don't forget to subscribe. And today, what are we going to talk about, Rach? We're going to jump right into it.
We're going to talk about when do you have the conversation about STDs?
Yes. And you know what's funny? I think this is a great subject. First of all, I hope everyone out there is doing well in these times. Everybody who streams us on where you get your podcast, thank you.
They say condom sales went up during COVID. I was like, people are being safe.
Yeah, people are being safe.
I guess grocery delivery people, so that was like the one thing
that they kept. Up. Yeah, people that work for Instacart and stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow,
like,
I didn't hear about that. That is really good.
Yeah.
So I have to say, I really want to jump this show off because my current girlfriend, I was very surprised. You know, I met her on a dating app like last year when I just come back from Spain.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we kind of had a little banter, kind of like what you just told me.
Oh.
Then the banter stopped, and she accidentally messaged me again in April.
Okay.
Trying to message someone else. She said she was just trying. She said it wasn't messaging someone else. She was trying to do something.
She was going through the archives.
Right, and she accidentally sent me this.
Quarantine.
She accidentally sent me this thing, and the first thing I said was, "Hey, I'm still waiting on that photo," because that's what we had ended on 7 months ago. I had totally remembered. I was like, I remember this woman. Like, you know what I mean?
Did that turn her off that you asked her for a photo? Is that why she didn't respond?
That's why she didn't respond before, because she was trying to direct me somewhere to see who she was, and I thought she was a catfish.
Oh,
but she wasn't.
Okay.
So this time I said, let me just send her my number. I said, here's my number. If you're serious, send me a darn photo. And she sends me the photo.
Okay.
And I said, holy crap, she's fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we set up a meet and greet a few days later. And it's funny, we went for a walk on this path in Sherman Oaks. Just doing quarantine.
Everybody's going on a walk date.
Right.
We went on a walk. That's all I've heard for 3 months. We went on a walk.
Yeah, because what else can you do, right? We went on a walk. Yeah. And after about 10 minutes on the walk, I'm looking at her and I go, you know what? If I had sex with you, I wouldn't use a condom. I swear that's what I said. And she excuse me? Yeah, she didn't even respond crazy.
Do what I tell you to do.
Right. She didn't even respond crazy. She said, and we talked about it later, and she said, you know, when you said that, it kind of tripped me out, but I could tell you weren't like some weird guy.
Wait, why did you say that though?
Because it was something about the way she looked. Her skin just looked nice, and like,
you didn't want to protect yourself.
I was like, I'm not using a condom with this woman. and I just verbalized it, right? You know, and it's funny. Me and my prior co-host had always wanted to talk about when do you talk STDs.
Okay.
And from the moment I met you, I said I'd like to talk about this with Rachel as well.
Yeah.
And I just happen to be with someone right now at the moment. You know, we all hope it lasts forever, right? Hope it lasts. And she took me through that rigmarole. And just by coincidence, I said that to her.
Okay.
I was just thinking it to myself and just said it out loud.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I'm bold and I just say whatever I want to say. But anyway, after me saying that, she goes, not in the same day, a few weeks later, we're seeing what's up and stuff. And she goes, hey, just so you know, because I'd always wondered why she wouldn't really kiss me. And she goes, just so you know, I like for someone to get tested before we do anything. I was like, oh. She said, yeah, if you can go get tested and just show me the results, that would be amazing. She said, and I'm going to do the same for you.
That's a confident woman.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh,
Not
okay.
a lot of people will do that.
Right. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And she, so then I said, oh, no wonder she hasn't kissed me. And she was like, basically, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
But what kind of tripped her out was how I quickly went and did what she asked. She thought I was going to procrastinate.
Okay.
I was setting up appointments before her.
Well, she probably gets a lot of hesitation.
She does.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow, you just did it. I'm like amazed and impressed.
Men not only don't want to use one, but they don't want to have to get tested too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good way to rule out the solid, serious guys, right?
Yep.
And that's what Liz used to say about when we talked about that dating book and everything. Because she was like, I actually followed these rules. And she said, I think it's a really good way to find a serious guy who's like going to be a good husband.
Yep.
Because they're willing to work for it. You know what I mean? And obviously you were
She was
willing to do that.
and I went, so I said, I already made my appointment. And my lack of procrastination made her be very proactive and go and do it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we literally went a day after each other and got tested and got our results and showed each other the results. And I mean, and she was specific. She was like, did you get HIV A and B or 1 and 2? I didn't even know it was 2 different ones. And she was like, oh, yeah. And I checked and I talked to my doctor. He said, yeah, Imani, we checked you for both. Look on the top of your chart. I said, oh, yeah, I did. See, I did get checked for both. I mean, she was very specific.
I was like, I didn't think I'd have a lot to say with this. And as you're talking, I'm like running out of space.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, yeah, this.
That's great. Yeah. So you know, I was excited to talk about this today because I'm a current example of how that could be successful. And I was definitely impressed and taken aback that my current girlfriend wanted to do that. And I welcomed it. I had no problem. I said, and it's funny, I told my doctor, and he goes, well, Imani, we know you don't have these, but since she asked, let's get it all.
Yeah, she wants to see all.
Right. I said, but no, I don't. He said, we know, but let's just get it all. Let's show the whole panel. So
I'm like, just test me for the normal
right.
one.
So I actually got more than what she asked for. So I go over to LabCorp. They take like 6-7 vials of blood from me. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got a panel for even stuff we knew I didn't have. We still got it tested. Everything. And I showed it to her.
I don't want to know. Do you know I've never got an AIDS test? And the only reason I had to was because I had like a microneedling surgery, not really surgery, but like to tighten my skin. And they had to give me anesthesia. I didn't realize it was like this whole thing. I thought it was just going to be a quick, it's like one of those places in Beverly Hills where they do like Botox and stuff.
Right.
But they give you anesthesia because the microneedling can be uncomfortable for your skin. And they had to give me an AIDS test because of the anesthesia. They take your blood and they test you for everything. And I was like, well, I'm just going to say a Hail Mary. Right. I've never had one. Right. No, the only time I actually got, like the only time I'll get tested is if like with the, like after the celebrity guy I dated because I didn't use anything. And I'm like, oh my God.
Just in case, let me
he's probably been with so many women. Like he's never been married. I mean, that's his reputation is like he's a playboy. Right. And it was like one of those things where I brought condoms with me. Right. And I was like, I'm going to use them. And then in that moment, I was like, I just can't interrupt this moment right now. Right. This is my celebrity dream. I'm just going to say a Hail Mary and hope for the best. Right. And I didn't have anything and I was shocked. My friends are like, you didn't use anything? Right. Your friends like, what, Rachel? What are you thinking? Right. I know. And I was like, no, but I made an appointment right away. Right. They got me and like a month later got tested and I was fine. I swear I convinced myself I caught something because I was like, oh no, I know he's probably with a woman every day. Yeah, well, it's probably good you did that because then if you didn't have anything, you were happy, but you expected to have something. You were prepared mentally. You know what I mean? I like had antibiotics in my house left over from something else, and I just started taking them just in case. That's funny. That's so funny. So maybe I did have something, and I didn't by the time I went to the appointment. Yeah, and it's funny in this situation. I told her, I said, "Listen, I'm gonna do this, but I know I don't." I was confident. I said, "I know I don't have anything," so I was confident going in, and it was what I actually expected because I'm really careful. You know what I mean? Okay. And I have to say that carefree sex has to be the best sex ever. Yeah. Where you meet someone new like that and you don't have to use anything and you guys could do whatever and you've seen each other's charts. Oh, it's the best. Carefree sex, I have to say, is absolutely amazing. Sleeping with a guy who hasn't been with anyone else in 7 years. I'm like, well, he doesn't have anything. Right. Exactly. Oh my God. But I didn't even tell you the first time we slept together, he didn't pull out. Okay. He just assumed I was on the pill. I'm not.
Wow. So you could be prego.
No, I wasn't. Yeah. I like took a bunch.
You could have gotten prego.
I took a bunch of birth control pills after that. So the morning after pill is equivalent to 2 very strong birth control pills. Gotcha. I have, some from like when I was in relationships there. So I kept them for that reason. Case, yeah. But it's like, he hadn't been with a woman in so long. His ex was probably in the pill and he just like assumed all girls were. And all of a sudden he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I just finished. And I was like, what?
You didn't feel it?
You what?
Yeah.
Because he's like a quiet finisher.
Okay, I got you.
Some guys like they're like, ah. Yeah. Some of them are just quiet and you don't know what's happening. And then I'm like, wait, I'm sorry, you what? And then he freaked out. It was like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I don't know. I just like assumed you're in the pill. I was like, oh my God, it's fine.
And you guys didn't talk about it before. Whether to pull out or not pull out. Okay.
No. I should have. Usually the man will bring it up or they just do it. You know what I mean? They know to just do it. Because, or sometimes like I normally, this one of the things I was going to say, but I normally will make them use a condom. If it's, the first couple times. But with him, I was like, okay, well, first of all, he's on about 2 girls before me, so I'm not worried there. But I didn't know that at the time. But I did know he hadn't been with a woman
in a while.
Years.
Yeah.
And then before that, he was with his girlfriend for 5 years. So I was like, I'm not worried about this guy. No, he doesn't have anything. So it's like a judgment call for me. If it's like good-looking playboy, San Diego guy.
Yeah.
This dude I dated in LA years ago who was like looked like a male model and he was like 26 and I'm like, he's probably with so many women.
Right.
Then I'll make them use something. That's and he didn't want to either. San Diego guy was good about it. He's like, oh yeah, we should probably do that, huh?
Right. Because it feels so much better without it. So
yeah, I just feel like I can tell like the guys I need to use it with and the guys I don't.
Right.
So like when I met my ex out here, I was like divorced single dad. Like, he doesn't go on he's not getting a whole lot of anything. You know
what I mean? In Anaheim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a safe bet. So it's like a judgment call for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they just seem like they're not the type of guy that's like a relationship guy, they're not out there banging everything in sight.
Right.
I'll make them use something. And then what's funny is I never talk about STDs with people, even in like relationships. Like, it's just, we just get to a point where like when I'm in a relationship, it's more of a pregnancy conversation, to be honest. Like with my ex, once we were together, like we were still using condoms like 4 months in. He was like the condom king. And I finally was like, do you want me to go back in the pill? And he was like, that's a really big decision. And I'm like, well, you already tell me you love me all the time. Right. You know what I mean? Like we're 4 months in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we've been together long enough. Yeah. So he was like, okay. But I had to like talk him into not using condoms.
Yeah, I personally think that it's something that every couple should talk about immediately.
Right.
And something that people should start practicing and doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's go get tested because, I mean, even with the condom, there's things you can actually catch. And you can catch gonorrhea of the throat from kissing now.
Okay.
And all that. You know what I'm saying? This stuff you can catch up the throat, too, just from kissing someone. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think it's something that you should talk about and you should talk about immediately. And it's funny, God forbid it doesn't work out with me and this woman. The next woman I'm with, I'm going to have her get tested now.
And you'll be like, here's my chart. I don't have to do it.
Yep. And the person I was with before I got tested too, and I know I'm straight. I said, I'm literally going to do that if it doesn't work out with she. And I'm going to say.
Unless like she wasn't with a man for 7 years before, then you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Right. But yeah, I mean, she really made me give it a certain look and put it at the forefront of when you're in a relationship. And I think everyone should talk about it immediately. There's so much stuff and there's new things like trichomoniasis and all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you know, I've never had anything in my life.
I remember you said that on the show months ago.
I don't even think I've ever had HPV, like the thing that everyone has.
Yeah,
like, because I think women know because you get like an abnormal pap smear or something. I'm like, I don't even think I've ever had one of those. And
if a man goes down on you, he can get cancer of the throat from that.
Okay.
Which is what happened with Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Yeah.
But like, it's crazy to me because when I was younger, I'd never used anything. Like,
yeah,
I I don't even know when I started using condoms, but it was like probably when I was like close to 30. Like my teens and 20s.
You got lucky.
No, you know what? I did in Cancun because I didn't know them.
You're right.
So I think because I grew up in a very small town, so everybody in town knows, like, that dude has herpes, stay away.
Right.
This person has this,
right.
you know. So you kind of knew who in your hometown had what.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And then because I didn't go away to college and I went to a local college, and so I stayed there. So it was very incestuous. Like I knew everybody that I was with, who they'd been with, and you knew who had stuff and who didn't. So I never really worried about it, but it's funny because I had 2 friends back home that both got herpes. And they both got it from their boyfriends who had cheated on them.
Right.
And I had another friend too from back home who got something else from her boyfriend who had cheated on her. It's like, it's so funny. All the friends that I know that have got it from their own relationships.
Right.
Not even like a one night stand.
Right. Or anything like that.
I'm like, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But here's what I wanted to ask you, because this is a very interesting thing that I thought. With both of my friends that had herpes, they're married now. But when they were dating, like, they would just sleep with guys with condoms and not tell them.
Okay.
And it's like, at what point? Because I always wondered about this. Like, at what point do you tell them? Because if you tell them before you sleep together, you might scare them away.
Right.
But if you tell them after you're already sleeping together, even if you're using something, that dude is going to be mad. Yeah. And yeah.
That's a tricky one.
Right?
Yeah.
They both ended up getting married, so obviously their husbands didn't care. But but I know it's like, in that situation, what do you do?
You mean if it's a guy or a girl?
Either one. Herpes is herpes. That doesn't go away.
Right. No, I got that. Okay, so what's the statistics on it again? Like 1 in 3 of people in the world, or 1 in 5, or something like that?
No, 1 in 3 is HPV. That's like
okay.
Everybody.
So herpes is 1 in 5, I think, if you look it up.
I don't know. I think probably less than that. I don't think a lot of people have herpes.
Oh yeah, it's like 1 in 5, for a fact.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's like 1 in 5. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot. That's my whole point. So
because how upset would you be if you were sleeping with a woman that didn't tell you? And you're dating her, and all of a sudden one day she's like, "Babe, I gotta tell you something. I've heard this." Right. I feel like you would be so mad, right?
I would. If we were using condoms before and we were careful, I wouldn't be that mad, and I'd be happy that she told me when she did. Oh, okay. Because at least it gives you the option to decide if you want to deal with that or not. Right. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think if you know and you're deciding to deal with that, if someone gives you that honor, I think that's the good thing.
Oh no, I don't know if I want to deal with that.
Yeah, but if it's 1 in 5, you probably have already and just don't know it.
Well, you know what's funny is I had unprotected sex with this guy from my hometown for a year. And I totally forgot there was a rumor that he had it. And like a girl that he dated was like, "Oh yeah, I got it from him. You know, I have this medication, this and that." I never got it. Right. But it's only contagious when they have a breakout. So I don't know, because one of my friends that had it was like, she goes, "I've never had a breakout. I almost feel like I don't even have it." Like, it was really weird. But 2 guys, like both of my friends that had it, ended up breaking up with them. Okay. So the first guy was an ex of mine, actually, but I was never like in love with him, you know. It was like teenage boyfriend. Yeah. And they really liked each other, and I was like, go for it, you know. But it was small town. Everybody knows who has what. So they were sleeping together but using protection. Yeah. And he found out from somebody that she had it. And he like freaked out and stopped calling her. And she was like, "Oh, you know," and of course she's talking to me about it. Like, "Oh, I thought we had this connection." And I was just like, like, I didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? I didn't have the heart to tell her that was why. And then my other friend was dating a guy friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, you know," and they, same thing, we're sleeping together with condoms. But they were like almost in a relationship at this point, and she hadn't talked to him about it. And then one day he was like, "Oh, you know, she said she wants to talk to me about something serious tonight." And I was like, "I think I know what that's going to be about, but I'll let her tell you."
And that's what it was.
He was so mad.
Yeah.
He was like, "Rachel, she has herpes. what? Like, we've been sleeping together for months. You never told me this.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I knew, not my place to say. Like, she had to be the one to tell you. He's like, well, if I knew it was that, I would have wished that you told me, or like somebody.
Right.
He ended up breaking up with her. Because it's almost like a trust thing too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I have a friend who, you know, just so that he remains anonymous, I'll just switch places and cities. But let's say he lives in LA, and he had 2 girlfriends that he met in San Diego, and didn't tell him till 3 months after.
Yeah.
And he ended up staying with her, one of them. He was like, man, we were just watching TV and she just brought it up after this commercial came on. Like 3 months after. And he said, man, I was like, why didn't you tell me this before?
Right.
But he ended up staying with her though.
But here's the thing. Would he have still dated her if she told him right away?
Yeah, see, that I don't know. I will say this. The one, when I was in Cannes with my kids' movie, the one, you know, really good looking woman I met from Norway that I ended up hooking up with, and we traveled back and forth and stuff a couple of times.
Yeah.
The first time she came to visit me here, we met in Las Vegas. That's what she tells me as soon as we get in the hotel room.
Okay.
She goes, by the way, and I go, why don't you tell me this before you flew across the pond, as they say?
Yeah.
She waited till she got to the hotel room in Vegas. I picked it from the airport to tell me.
She probably was afraid if she told you before.
I'd say don't come.
Don't come. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, on the one hand, I was happy she said it.
Yeah.
When do you talk STDs? Immediately. I'm happy she said it.
If you
then on the other hand, I'm like, why didn't you say this before you got here? Like, it was just kind of interesting. Her timing, I thought, was kind of whack.
Okay.
You know, and I still ended up smashing. I mean, I used a condom. I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it didn't scare me. I was just like,
well, and it's like if she had a breakout, I'm sure you could see it.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Of course. Yeah. You know, but yeah, so I've been in that situation. The woman told me up front, and I was okay. I mean, we stopped dating for other reasons. She was the one I told you that you know, we had a big falling out about the N-word thing, and I ended up leaving her at the hotel in Florida, same one.
Yeah.
So I saw her a couple of times after that. We flew back and forth and stuff, and I still was hanging out, and everything was been fine. It was fine with me. So you know, so I think that it depends on the guy. If it's someone mature, and then when someone tells you that, you like research it. That's how I know the stats. Okay. Because I'm a filmmaker. I research. Yeah. So when she told me that, I researched, and I was like, oh, okay. So this is more common than you think. I just did a lot of research. Okay. You know. When we left Vegas, I said, if I'm going to decide to see her again. And we saw each other like 2 or 3 times after that until that incident where I left her in the hotel in Miami. But yeah. So I think if the guy's mature, yes, and he gets it, because I like after that Vegas trip, I could have decided not to see her again. Right. But my research made me feel comfortable. Yeah. And I talked to her about it, and it was cool. Yeah. It wasn't like the end of the world.
I feel like the older you get, the easier it is to have those conversations. Right. Because when like, you know, when you're a teenager and you're insecure and you start having sex, I didn't even have the confidence to tell a guy to wear a condom.
Yeah, see?
I was just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to do it this way, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know, I never mind diseases. Like, I wasn't even thinking.
No, you don't even think about it.
But also, you're at that age where, like, you feel like you're invincible, right?
Right.
So, like, you don't think you're going to ever get pregnant, ever get a disease. No one's going to die. Like, you're invincible, you know? And I think when you're a teenager, too, it's less likely because you haven't really been with many people yet. Right. It's when you get into your 20s that people start getting it. Yep. You know?
And I'm going to tell my daughter, have everybody get tested. Yeah. I'm telling you. And I wasn't even thinking about telling her that until I met my current girlfriend. Right. Yeah, I mean, and some people may say, Imani, you should have been telling her that anyway, but sometimes it takes something to happen in your life or something becomes a catalyst for something positive. Yeah. I told her, I said, and because I was telling her mother, my ex-wife, how Lisa had me do that. And she was like, yeah. And I brought it up because I wanted it to be a teachable moment for my daughter who's going to be 16, you know, soon and stuff in January. And I'm like, you know, she's going to be a sophomore in high school next year. Yeah. And I know guys are going to be after her. And I want her to be like, hey, let's get tested.
Right.
I want her to start practicing that from now.
Unless they're virgins.
Then
you're all right.
But you know what I'm saying? Unless they're virgins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I want her to start practicing that from now because I think it's so good. It's so important. And you do talk about it immediately. You know what I mean? And going back to the whole herpes thing, I honestly think with that, because if you research it, I honestly think the stigma actually overweighs the actual problem.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say? Because there's you know,
I think it's just the fear that it doesn't go
there's
away.
the cold sore that's also the same thing.
Right.
And people seem to be more accepting of that than the other thing, probably because you can see it and you can't hide it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I honestly think with that, the stigma overweighs the actual problem. So, and I'm saying that to say, if I met, based on what I've researched about it, if I met a woman who was dealing with that and she had everything I was looking for, I would not be with her because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could honestly say that I would not be with her because of it.
Well, because it's like the one that doesn't go away.
Right.
You know?
That, HPV, obviously HIV.
Well, no, HPV goes away because it's a virus.
Not in women though, right?
Yeah.
It does? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
My gyno actually told me that they don't even test for it with people in their 20s because everybody has it, she said. So it's like in their 30s when they start testing for it.
Gotcha.
And she said if you have it in your 30s, we just test you a year later and usually it goes away on its own.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she and I both just got tested for that. It was 0.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Again.
I know, it's so crazy. I only had one friend that like her and her boyfriend, they both got tested and they had to wait until the test results came in before they could sleep, before they would like sleep together.
Right.
And then it came back fine, but it's not.
Yeah. You know what? Let me look that up real quick because I just want to be sure because I have a story to tell.
It's not a common thing. Like most people aren't doing that.
Let me look it up real quick. I always forget we have a computer here. But let me look it up real quick.
And I've said that to people sometimes, like if we start dating and, you know.
Does HPV go away in women? I know it does in men. In most cases, your body can produce antibodies against the virus and clear the virus in 1 to 2 years. Most strains of HPV go away permanently without treatment because of this. It isn't uncommon to contract and clear the virus completely without ever knowing you had it.
Because all viruses go away. That's why.
Like, but some don't though, right?
No, viruses always do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why there's nothing you can take for coronavirus because it's like it's just a virus. You know, it's gonna come and go.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that because I had an ex that dealt with that, and for her, it didn't go away.
I know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I have a friend who like got surgery because they told her that hers didn't go away and that if she didn't have the surgery that she couldn't have kids. So she did. And now that she's really into like holistic medicine and wellness and all of that and studied up on it, she was like, Rach, if I knew now what I knew, then I never would have got that surgery. Because I think it was like a medical field trying to make money.
Got you, which they always try and do.
I know. I'm always like, get a second opinion.
Yeah, which they always try and do. But yeah, man, I mean.
But she'll like tell guys that she dates that she had it. And I'm like.
But why? If she doesn't have it anymore.
Why? Yeah. Exactly. It's like,
why even mention that?
I feel like she like scares guys away. Cause she'll be like, well, you know, I had a talk with him and I told him about my HPV. And I'm like, but you don't have it anymore.
Right.
Exactly. Like why?
Yeah. I mean, the body is amazing though, right? Like you can contract something like HPV and your body develops antibodies for it.
Yeah,
and you don't get it anymore. Right. Isn't that? Yeah. The body is amazing in that respect.
We just can't fight infections, and that's why we need antibiotics.
Right.
They give us those antibiotics. Yeah. Because I'm very holistic, and so I try to fight off anything myself. So I actually like had strep throat once, and I read that if you don't take antibiotics for it and you let it go away on its own, that you never get it again. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try that.
Right.
Honey, it got to the point where I couldn't even speak. It was so bad. And I finally like had to go to the doctors, and she was like, Rachel, how long have you been like this? And I was like, well, I read that like it can go away on its own. And she's like, you can do damage to your vocal cords. Like, no, you need antibiotics. And I was like, okay, that was a bad one.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I will do anything I can to like not go to the doctors.
Right.
If I don't have to. Because some people are just some people are stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like going either. Even when I went to get these tests,
you have a cold,
I did not
did you
like
go to the
being
doctors?
there.
It's like, it's a cold. What is the doctor going to do? they're gonna send you home with antibiotics that you don't need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I hadn't had a physical in so long. So when she asked me to go do the STD test and stuff, my doctor just gave me a physical too. He said, might as well do a physical. Let's just check it all out. Okay. So that's what we did, you know? And it was fine. So in my blood panel, they checked everything else too. Cholesterol, this. I just did a complete physical.
Okay.
And I was completely fine. You know what I mean? So the question I have for you is, before we sign off, in the future, will you ask that guy that you're going to be serious with, or you think you're going to be serious with, to get tested? Because this is what I have to say to the audience. If it's someone you know you're just going to use a condom with and you're going to be strictly safe and it's not going to be long term, make your own choice. But maybe in that case, you're like, well, maybe I won't. But if it's someone that you think you're like dating for long term, I personally think you should ask them yes before you do anything. You say you won't?
No, because I think it's a judgment call, and I generally end up with guys that just haven't been with a lot of women. Like, I hate to say it, but it was like my ex married the second girl he was ever in a relationship with. This dude's only been with 2 girls before me. Like, historically, I kind of end up with those guys that don't have something. Right. It's a judgment call for me. Like, I think you should have the conversation. I would wait until you're in a relationship, right? Or you're going that way. Yeah. Because if it's just a guy you're going to hook up with one time, who cares? You know what I mean? Or if it's just like a casual thing. So what I do is, like, if it's just a guy that I know isn't like serious material, like San Diego guy, I just make him use condoms.
Got you. You keep safe like that. Okay. Yeah. That's fair
Historically,
enough.
I've dated like single dads that, you know, like haven't had a lot of experience.
That are fairly safe. Their chances of maybe having something.
Yeah, it's a judgment call for me. If I got serious with somebody that I felt like was probably with a lot of women before me, then
you would.
Then I think that's a good idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because because you think about it, like, you know, if you're with somebody for a long time before me, or you're married for a long time before me, like that, women generally get tested once a year because we have to go to the gyno, you know, usually you have birth control or you do your exams or whatever. So even if the guy doesn't get tested, the woman is going to every year. So I generally date guys who have pretty good like longevity with relationships. So the woman would know if they had something. If I date a guy that got divorced and went bonkers and started banging everything in sight,
then you're like,
then we should probably have a talk.
Yeah, it's funny because the last school teacher I had dated in town years when I first moved here, she wanted to do the same thing, but after we initially slept together, she went and got tested. And she said, well, since I went and got tested, I know you're fine. I know because you're the only one I. So she was the last one. Yeah.
It's a judgment call.
So women do it, you know.
Yeah.
They don't do it as often as I think they should, but they do it. I appreciated it. I had no problem with it. Okay. Men out there, man up. If a lady asks you to do that, who wants to take you seriously, don't just go and get it done. Yeah. What are you worried about?
Yeah. I go every year. Yeah. You know, I have my
get tested.
I know, and it's infuriating too because I have my appointment on July 1st. So that, because I don't like birth control because of the hormones.
Right. It's not good for you. Yeah.
Right. So I asked a friend of mine recently and she said you can get an IUD put in that doesn't have hormones. There's one that doesn't. Right. And I was like, great. So there's generally over a month wait to get into the gynos. Like it's just always a long wait. So I got an appointment for July 1st and it's like, now this dude dumps me and I'm like, well, no. No. Yeah. I'm getting nothing. And I'm like, I postponed my summer trip too because I'm like, I have to be here for July 1st. Like, I have to be I'm still gonna get it anyway.
Right,
so
right.
I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's just annoying. It's like I was getting this for you, and
right.
Cool.
Well, I think it's good, man. Anyway, guys, that's it, Rach, for you on your side.
That's it.
Cool. Anyway, guys, that's our show. It's Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda podcast. Imani, Shakur, Rachel K. Burke. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, ISNT Group Digital, and hit that notification button. And make sure you talk about STDs immediately. That's what I have to say. Peace out. We'll see you next week.